What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday, the Tuesday crew, Mangone, Hoop, myself, talking some hoops. We got 4 games, pretty decent 4-game slate. We'll dive into it. Not too much injury news. We're waiting on one piece that we'll get. Who knows? Maybe on the Up to Lock show, maybe a little after lock. But first, there's more important news. Mangone coming back from Big T's just absolutely wiped out the RPS crew. Easily the most improved player on the slab this week for sure. So I'm not going to be do the talking. Mangone, talk to the people and let them know what you did this weekend because you were very impressive on the court. 3-0 you walked home with. Tell the people what happened.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend for sure. Hooping was a good time. I had to change my game plan. I don't know if I told you, but like my plan to beat Rubio was to go down low on him all game. I was like, I got to get down low. Like I can get all those rebounds, but Rubio was tough down low there. You got to give him credit. He was very good defensively and made a couple jump shots. So that was big. It was a lot of fun. Really good time. Then we obviously had a good time playing some, hoops on Sunday as well. Got to play with the Knee House boys. Got to watch JSU play against one of his nephews as well. And overall, it was a really, really fun weekend. I mean, you guys both crushed it, the UFC. So congrats to you guys on that. Tambo on Sunday, he shipped a little, golf. I think he shipped 2 golf seats. And on top of that, he got, I think like 60K in golf. So that was awesome. I got some title bucks in the PayPal. So that was nice. Still waiting for the hoop ones. But other than that, it was an all around awesome time. Fun weekend.
Yeah, it was a very fun weekend. We got Redmond chat. Mangone worked hard. Mangone definitely worked hard. Rubio, on the other hand, his cardio. Rubio's got to lay off the Burger King, got to lay off those Shamrock Shuffles or Shamrock Shakes for that matter. But it was a very fun time. There were some good games. My favorite of the week, the Mangone against Snyder game. Man, there was no bows but body. What was the saying we kept saying out there, Mangone? No bows but body or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was all body, no bows, right?
Oh.
That was our joke. It was all bodies, no bows was a really fun saying that we had. And me and Snyder were definitely going at it. At one point, I knocked Snyder's hat off his head to just like, clown around. And then he put me in a chokehold, which I was like, I deserve this. So it was definitely a lot of fun. It was a good time. Can't wait to get back. And man, when we get back, Grayson might be in the slab taking all of us on. I mean, he got better at shooting too, Big T's son. So it should be fun. And I can't wait for the title and Big T match. Who knows? Maybe I'll have to fly out for that one. I can't wait for you guys to face off.
Yeah, that'll be hopefully in a couple months. So Big T, we were on the golf course yesterday, stepped in a little hole and his ankle twisted a little bit. So man, hopefully he's recovering. I haven't heard how his ankle's doing, but yeah, Grayson, he definitely will be on that court hooping. In a matter of years, he'll be beating most of us for sure. Man, our hoop, I'll head over to you. It was a very fun weekend, Friday, Saturday. Definitely, I was paying the price on Sunday a little bit. I can only imagine you were as well. The drive home couldn't have been that fun, but it's easier to do it after you take home some giblets on Saturday. Very fun weekend.
Yeah, the ride home was not fun. 2 days. You guys did many more days. I think you guys were 5 or 6 days. I did 2 days and hit the road on Sunday and felt like complete shit. And it was a big mistake for my bankroll as well. I mean, super live. I was right there with Tambo in a lot of those contests. We had the setup where we both could have shipped. He was in the 555. I was in the 3K. And as soon as I left that state of Kentucky, things just started going down and down and down, and they really didn't recover for my PGA lineups. The wife was driving on. I was like, we might have to turn around and go back to the Knee House house and get back in there to bring this home. Still an okay week in PGA, but didn't get all the way there. Tambo obviously crushed, so congratulations to him. The 2 days I was there, Friday, Saturday, not the greatest weather, so didn't get in on any basketball or cornhole action, unfortunately. But next year I plan on being in the pits and maybe make a return to the court. We'll see. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to get together with everyone and meet some people I haven't met yet. And back to the grind now.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to the grind as well. I haven't played basketball, I think, since Wednesday was the last time I've been in the NBA streets, but I've seen the screenshots. The members absolutely have been crushing the NBA. Golf this week. I'm very, very excited for golf. Make sure you check out the show. Hoop, Tambo, Big T just did. I was napping. Someone says I look refreshed for the show. Yeah, I was napping the past couple hours once I got in. So I'm going to be watching that show. Big Edge this week, it looks like. So make sure, hop in Discord, join Run Pure Sports, head over. All of the sports, one price. We got NASCAR going on. Big T almost shipped NASCAR. almost ship college basketball too. I mean, there was a lot of money won at the knee houses for sure. So head over to Run Pure Sports, check it out. We got 4-game slate today. I say we dive right into it. We'll talk about different stuff. Some catches my eye in chat, you name it. We'll go, and we got time, 4 games, 45 minutes. But the first game on the slate, let's get into it. The Golden State Warriors, the Orlando Magic, 215 total. Golden State is favored by 7.5. Going to the Golden State side, Steph Curry's out, Wiseman's still out, Iguodala's out, Moses Moody is questionable. Going to the Orlando side, Jalen Suggs is the only one that's out. Yeah, Steph has been out for a couple days. Obviously, Jordan Poole gets a big bump there. It's the first game on the slate at 7 p.m. Eastern. The lock times go 7, 7:30, 8, and then 10 o'clock. And the big news we have on the slate is Zach LaVine is questionable right now. That game starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if we don't get the news by this lock time, I think it's a lot easier to just cross it off and completely fade. But Mango, and I'll go to you. What's your thought process on that? If we get the LaVine news, if we don't get the LaVine news, and what sticks out to you in this game?
Yeah, you just confused me. You said the LaVine news. You're talking about the Warriors game first, correct?
Yes, but I brought up the Warriors news, but because that game, the only news on the slate we really have, at least what I'm seeing, is Zach LaVine questionable at 8 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, that's the big one. We have Bogdanovich, I believe, at 7:30, which like you can backload for this, but the point I want to get at with this first game is like I think this is like a really quick, easy fade spot for me. You can make arguments like RJ Hampton at 3.9 on FanDuel. Like I totally get it. If we have a lot of value already, but I think he could make some sense. I don't hate if like Jordan Poole's the last guy in at 7.4. Sure, I don't think it's the worst idea, but this is not a game I'm looking to get too much exposure to. If I happen to fall on one of these guys, like you could do it, but I like the idea of just Xing this game out. I don't think it's the greatest idea to just get one piece of this game. If for some reason you do like this game, I think you should get like 3 guys from this one, or maybe even 4. That way you're like really unique. That right away will set you away from the pack. And I don't think you have to go 4. You could go 2 or 3, and that would set you away from the pack already unique wise. But I think this is a game that I am definitely getting away from. I'll find other ways to be unique on this slate. And I'm just going to say this is not a game I really want to go to. If there's a couple guys I have to pick on FanDuel, it'd be RJ Hampton, like I said, at 3.9, and then Poole on DK at 7.4. But that's all I got for you on this one.
Yeah, the what I was saying about the LaVine news is if we don't get it by the first lock time, I mean, Zach LaVine's obviously big news, and the Bulls already in a pretty decent spot. So that's even more of a reason to backload. But I agree, this game doesn't sticking out too much. Poole at 7.4, yeah, it feels expensive. I don't think the ownership will be too much, but he definitely has a ceiling without Steph. So he'd be the one I'm interested on DraftKings, FanDuel, RJ Hampton too. So I'm right in line with you on this game. Hoop, how are you seeing it?
Yeah, not much to add. I think the least appealing DFS game on this slate. I mean, despite Steph being out, these guys, the prices have already adjusted rather quickly. Klay Thompson at 8.1, not going there. The one guy I think that is in play would be Poole at 7.4K. But the only way I'm really going to play him is if we have all the news on the slate, like the LaVine news is big. If we have everything, and then he's kind of the last guy in, I'd be fine going there. But, I can't really play anyone else on this Warriors side. On the Magic side, I think the only, Hampton, I agree with you guys. Like you can play him. Maybe Mo Bamba. I mean, Wendell Carter has been going off, but the problem is the price. I mean, you're looking at 8.4K for Wendell Carter. I mean, that's just not a tag that I'm super interested in. So if you're doing 150, I think you can kind of bring these guys into the conversation a little bit more, but anything less than that, I just don't have any interest, especially if we don't have all the news on the slate. Like I'm not locking anything in here. With the exception of maybe Jordan Poole if I just loved everything else. So not the greatest game.
Yeah, William and Chad, I'll go right back to you. William and Chad asked about Markelle Fultz. None of us 3 brought it up, which usually means we don't have too much interest. He hasn't cracked over 20 minutes once since returning. On a slate like this, my answer is I don't think you need it, but 4.2K if you're 150 and as the last piece, low-owned pivot or something. What are your thoughts on that, Hoop?
When he came back from injury, like he had a couple of those big games. He had like 30 fantasy points, 32 fantasy points in limited time, and people started to get on him a little bit. But the results haven't gotten any better. The minutes have stayed the same, and the results have kind of gone in the tank. I mean, we haven't seen those 30 fantasy point games. We have value at, pretty decent value on the slate already. I don't think you need to go to Fultz.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need to go there, William, either. I haven't mentioned it yet. Hit the like button, hit that big red subscribe button next to it. Not going to set a number yet, but we appreciate you hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. I'll be Steve Anthony says Drew season. Kemper, I saw you in chat yesterday. He said, hopefully I can crush NBA tiers again tonight. Kemper, you had a pretty nice hit last night, so congrats to you. Keep going at it. We got our boy Tyler on the bet side. Let's ship some NBA tonight. Yes, sir, Tyler. If you didn't watch the bet show, Mangone was on it just not too long ago. Spread and Tyler do it every single day, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. One of us on the RPS side checks or hops in, talks some basketball. Those two very, very knowledgeable. The betting always translates to the DFS too. We talk both of it. So make sure you check them out. Hopefully everything's going well with you, Tyler. Let's get into the next game on the slate, though. Second game starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Hawks, the New York Knicks. We have a 226.5 total. Atlanta is favored by 3. Going to the injury report, John Collins, Lou Williams out. Bogdanovich is questionable, which is the news Mangone was talking about. So we have Levine, the biggest news that we'll get to. Bogdanovich is a little bit of news, too. Going to the Knicks side, Julius Randle, Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish, Nerlens Noel all out. Hoop, I'll go to you. We should get the Zach LaVine news by this game time, so you're not going to completely fade it. This Knicks side, you definitely can't ignore, and it's going to carry some ownership. So talk about that, and if you're going to run anybody back, who would it be?
Yeah, so on the Knicks, obviously, we get the news that Julius Randle is ruled out, and it's obviously pretty slate changing. And the Knicks are a team that goes from a lot of fringe plays to kind of more of priority plays here in the spot against Atlanta at home. The spread's still only 3. The guys you're looking at here, assuming he starts, is Obi Toppin. He's 3.2K on DK, 3.7 on FanDuel. Probably going to be the most popular play on the slate, I'd assume, just because of the price tag and what it allows you to do. RJ Barrett also gets a nice boost. I mean, playing a ton of minutes and now gets the time on the court without Julius Randle. 43 minutes, 39 minutes, 40 minutes, 42 minutes. Usage is going to go up here, so he's a very solid play. Again, he will carry a good chunk of ownership. Alec Burks, I think, is the third guy in terms of ownership here. It's just another situation. He plays the minutes, and the usage will be coming up with Randle off the court. Mitchell Robinson is a guy that you can look at, and a guy I like that not many people are talking about. He's not popping really in projections. Is Evan Fournier. Again, he's going to play the minutes. He's been shooting quite a bit, at least 13 shots in 3 out of the last 4 games. He's been over 30 fantasy points in 3 out of those 4 games. The price tag is still very fair. So I think he's one that kind of goes overlooked. And he's definitely a guy I'm going to have interest in tonight. So the Knicks, they're just running out of bodies, really. And, with Julius Randle out, provides a good opportunity for the rest of these guys. On the Hawks side, Trae Young is fine if you can fit him in. We have Giannis, we have Jokic on the slate as well. So, if you're spending, I still prefer those other guys. But if you have a lineup where you can't get up to it, I like Trae Young, especially if you have a team with a lot of Knicks. Like playing Trae Young, I think does make sense. Gallinari coming off a 41-minute game, 39 fantasy points. The price is up a little bit at 5-1. Probably would only consider him if Bogdanovich is ruled out. And then, the same issue with Clint Capella that we've seen all season long, where the upside just really isn't there, but 6'4", maybe. So I think he's a fringe play. If I was doing 150, I would definitely have him in my player pool. So this is kind of, this game and the next game, I think, carry most of the ownership on the slate, and for all the right reasons. I mean, we have the big injury news, and with Randle being out, it's a 4-game slate. You definitely do not want to fade the Knicks. And I think there's a lot of different ways you can go with the Knicks. So, in all formats, you want to load up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Mangone, I'll head over to you. I see people in chat. We're talking earlier about the Trae Young narrative in Madison Square Garden. We know how the playoffs went with Trae in there. So I think that's interesting since you can't fully ignore these Knicks. In tournaments, I think forcing in a run back I'm not sure how many people are going to do that. If this game stays close where all these Knicks get there, someone on the Hawks, I think, will. And Trey at 10-4 with the Jokic, with the Giannis on the slate, I think that can make sense. And we know the upside's there. So talk about that. And then how many Knicks is too many is another question I'll ask.
Yeah, I love the idea of forcing in that run back. And Trae Young's a great place to start. Just depends if you have the money for it. Obviously, if you play Drew Holiday and then you play Giannis, like, okay, good luck getting in Trae. It's going to be very difficult. You got to really spend down for a lot of options. I do think that getting a mix of these Hawks, like maybe a Kayvon Huerter, right? He got the job done against the Knicks last year in the postseason. If Bogdanovich sits, you're going to see a lot of these guys pop up. DeAndre Hunter, like, I think the thing that's really nice is if for some reason Bogdanovich does sit, you're going to have some value open up here. And one value piece that'll open up that I don't think people are going to go to as much as they should is Danilo Gallinari at 4.8K. He's a great fantasy producer, likely will get a lot of run. You're going to likely see him close the game as well. And if you look at the forward position, Obi Toppin, he's going to be a guy that's on a lot of teams tonight. And then because you've already got Obi Toppin in there and there's no Middleton, Giannis is the raw spend up guy. So that already takes up 2 forward positions. So your forward position is condensed right now where you're going to see a lot of these forwards not get owned there. For instance, if someone has shooting guard and small forward eligibility, like if Bogdanovich gets ruled out, you're going to see Kayvon Huerter be put into that shooting guard spot a lot for people. And I think overall, this is going to be a good spot to get exposure to a low owned forward. I think Gallinari will still come in lower owned. Sure, maybe it comes at like 20% if the value opens up, but I just think the Obi Toppin and Giannis is going to soak up so much forward ownership that you're going to have some opportunities to take shots on these guys. Like DeAndre Hunter, his ownership will be really low. So I am hoping Bogdanovich gets ruled out. I'm hoping it's at like 710 or 715. That way I can take advantage of that. I think there's some good opportunity there. And then I do really like to spend up on Trae Young. I think Clint Capella is like okay, but 6-7 just feels like a bit too much for me. There's other plays that I prefer on the Hawks instead that I think are worth going to at lower ownership. And if Bogdanovich sits, DeLon Wright at 4-5. Don't sleep on that too. I think he'd get a little bit of a nice bump where he'd be a really interesting option too that you'd want to get exposure to at 4.5K. And then I got to talk about the Knicks a little bit. I don't have to say much about Toppin, an amazing play. RJ Barrett, 7.2K, really good option. I expect him to have a pretty big game. The one thing that's nice about the Knicks, they're similar to the Utah Jazz, where I feel really confident with them getting their rotations. It's not like the Clippers, where out of nowhere, they just get benched in the second half. Tom Thibodeau will play his starters. Even if the game is like a 15-point game, he still might have RJ Barrett out there grinding it out to try and get this game close and get that win. So I think RJ Barrett is a great play at 7.2K. Alec Burks, Emmanuel Quickly, good options that you can go to. And I heard some people talking in the chat about an Evan Fournier narrative. If there was a time to play Evan Fournier, it's not because it's a small slate, as some people were saying. It's because of all these guys out. You can take a shot on him. I don't hate the idea of taking a chance. Mitch Robinson at 6-1, not someone I'm too interested in. The price is up, and I think that this is going to be a tougher spot for him with a guy like Julius Randle out, not able to help spread the floor and give him some more opportunities down low. So overall, if I rank these Knicks values, Obi Toppin is my number 1. Then I have RJ Barrett number 2, Alec Burks number 3, and then I have Quickly number 4, which, and if he comes in at way lower ownership than Burks in tournaments, I really like Quickly over him for sure.
Yeah, definitely a good breakdown. Someone in chat asked Burks or Quickly. Mangone ranks Burks over Quickly. I prefer Burks as well. As far as the Mitch Robinson, he's 5'4" on DK, where he's 6'1" on FanDuel. I think he's going to be very low owned because everyone's going to jam in the other Knicks. You can always play Julius or Mitch Rob in tournaments, in my opinion, especially when Clint Capella is going to be on the court. They're going to need a size to match up. He always has that upside to break a slate. So I think Mitch Rob does make a little sense on DraftKings as a pivot. 5.4K, a lot better price than 6.1K. So very good breakdown there. This is definitely a game you cannot ignore. But yeah, I think the Fournier call by Hoop, you touched on it as well. He's also going to be another overlooked one, and he can get hot as we've seen. If he gets hot, he'll keep chucking, and the ceiling is definitely there. So this game is going to be popular. The Knicks side especially is going to be very popular, but Gallo, don't overlook him, especially if Bogdanovich is out. And I think Trae Young as a run back definitely does make some sense. Before we get into the next game, we touched on a little bit earlier, the Members Never Win segment, a very good weekend with the over here at Run Pure Sports. So going to highlight some big wins we had. It's always tough to start off when I'm reading in the Discord and my name comes up first, but was a good weekend over here. Shipped some MMA giblets. Hoop as well, shipped 39,000 in MMA, splitting the top prize. Our boy
It just felt so much better, like, you know, being there, you know, you and I together, we got to hug it out. We got the picture right after. I mean, it was one of my more enjoyable ships of the year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, I got on my knee eventually, like you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
are begging to do, had to get up there. And it was nice because it wasn't even really a sweat. I mean, Aspinall just came out there and dominated start to finish, but we needed a certain score. So very fun. You also got to send me the picture that we took by the TV. I haven't got that one yet, but perfect. But yeah, yes, that was a lot of fun for sure. Tambo, 94,000 in PGA. That was a very fun sweating him out on Sunday too. Sammy Burns, absolutely that the putt in the playoffs that he sunk. It rimmed around and ended up going in. Tambo absolutely crushed PGA. 2 seats, 94,000. Congrats to you, Tambo. Earwig 214 won $8,000 in PGA. Mike B won $10,000 in League of Legends. That just shows all sports one price. League of Legends, we got guys shipping $10,000. Congrats to you, Mike B. Legit Mango, $20,000 in NASCAR. Just another sport that we have over here. Coop, Matty Ice, Mikey absolutely crushed it. And then Pinto got flow, 39,000 in MMA. He shipped a bunch of the contests there too. So it was a very, very good week. I saw a lot of screenshots, a lot more screenshots than that, just that too, in the NBA streets and in other stuff too. So if you're not a member, I don't know what you're doing. Head over to Run Pure Sports. Check it out. No promo code anymore. The promo code went on a little too long. Like we said, the deal is already $80 a month is already a deal. So head over to Run Pure Sports, check it out. And like I say, always make sure to get in Discord because there's nothing like the Discord at Run Pure Sports. Hit the like button as well. Hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, let's continue to run hot. The college. I didn't even mention anything about college basketball. Stevie Boynton was there. He got to the Elite Eight in the Mania in that qualifier. He ended up getting knocked out, but he was crushing it. Kurt, he had a $1,000. He shipped the Mini Max on Sunday. There was winners all around. So one sport or one price, all the sports. There's no better time to join the movement. Let's get into
it. Who do you got? I mean, I know you were in the mix too because you were a champ all the days there. But who would you give? We talked about in the show yesterday. Give the drinking title to Boynton or DC.
I gotta go. I gotta go DC because he started days earlier too. I mean, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. He had to fly out really early. He was pounding them Sunday from noon until all the way that he went. So nothing against Stevie, but man, DC was he was very impressive. So maybe Bertha though knocked his status down a little bit because that was a little hurtful. And I learned, I don't know if you heard, she was doing a 24-ounce can and he had the 16-ounce can.
Oh, she had the big can and she crushed it, put it back down on the bar. Like she was, it was very impressive. She
took my money too. I mean, I bet on DC. She snap called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She took some title sheets from me. I mean, that was hurtful for sure. But no, it was definitely a lot of fun. But yeah, DC Wednesday till Sunday. I got to give him the drinking trophy a little bit, but tons of fun for sure. And Steve can definitely put him down too. All right, let's get into the next game. Hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button for us. Big game on the slate. The Chicago Bulls, the Milwaukee Bucks starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 233 total, the biggest on the slate. Milwaukee is favored by 8. Going to the injury report, Lonzo is still out. Zach LaVine is questionable, which is the big news we've been talking about. As far as the Bucks, Bembry's out and Chris Middleton's out. So anytime Chris Middleton's out, one of Drew, Middleton, Giannis, you got to have some interest in Giannis. You got to have some interest in Drew. I think today is a slate. You're going to want to play one of them, maybe even both of them. As far as the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, 8-6. I believe he's 7-8 on FanDuel. I think that he's very interesting. Vooch at 7-7. There's Caruso at 4.1K. I think all of those guys are in play, even if Zach LaVine does play. Now, if he's ruled out, they all get big bumps. And I think a really interesting play would be if Zach LaVine is ruled in. I still have interest at 7.5K with Zach LaVine, and I hope that questionable tag, but keep the ownership down a little bit. So, Hoop, I'll go to you. We talked about last game being very good, this game being very good, the two best games on the slate. Talk about it because you can't ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, you broke it down perfectly. Like these Bulls guys, I think are in play regardless of whether or not Levine's in. Like the prices have finally come down. Like for a while, the price on their core guys are way up there. Well, now the prices have come down. Got a 233 total here in this game. So Vooch is under 7K on FanDuel. DeRozan, I believe, is like in the mid sevens. Fine plays now. If Levine gets ruled out, they come priorities on the slate. We already have Caruso as a value back in the starting lineup. He's very cheap on both sites, 32 minutes last night. In play either way. If Levine's ruled out, big boost for him. Javonte Green played 29 minutes last night. If Levine's ruled out, I'll be looking to him as a value play as well. And then, like you said, if Levine's ruled in, not many people are going to be on him. He has the cheapest price tag he's had all season long. Probably more of a GPP type play. And then on the Bucks side, you're going to want some exposure to the Bucks. Highest team total on the slate at 120 points. Middleton's ruled out, so obviously Giannis gets a big boost. Drew gets a big boost. Portis, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton. So a lot of guys. I mean, we have probably 10 guys that are in play in this game. All the ownership on the slate is going to be from these middle two games: the Hawks, Knicks, Bulls, Bucks. I mean, they're just going to be massive ownership in terms of number of guys that are played on rosters tonight, but for all the right reasons. Those numbers could obviously come up if Levine's ruled out, but we have just a lot of plays here as is. And, if choosing between like Giannis and Jokic, I'm probably going to be on Giannis tonight just because I know I'm going to be playing the Bulls, and I know that, Middleton's out, so he gets the boost as well. So really good game for DFS purposes.
Yeah, someone in chat earlier asked Giannis or Jokic. Obviously, these are almost always coin flips. They both can easily smash, but I do prefer Giannis a little bit in a better game environment. So I'm with you there. Before I get to you, Mangone, our boy Steve Boyton's in chat. No college basketball till Thursday. Got to hop in with the NBA boys. Love to see it, Steve. We got Raven in chat. He had a ship or two in the MMA street, so congrats to you, Raven. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. Hit that like button. Hit that big red subscribe button as well. And going to head over to you. Talk about this game. I think both sides is interesting. Rank some of your favorite pieces, how you plan on attacking it.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a game that you want to get exposure to in DFS. Don't sleep on it. Obviously, the starting lineup of Drew Holiday, Giannis, like that's a great way to start off your teams. Like those two guys are going to absolutely crush. We know how this works. If one of these guys is out, then play at least one, maybe even both of those guys. So really good spots for them. Also, it's a slate where we have Jokic, who we'll talk about later. Those are like the two main studs in the slate. It's mainly Giannis and Jokic. So I do expect a lot of ownership to be on Giannis today, but for good reason. We also have a little bit of narratives in this game. We got the Bobby Portis revenge narrative. And not just that, we got the Alex Caruso narrative against Grayson Allen, because Grayson Allen is the guy who got him hurt. So I do really expect this to be a game where Alex Caruso kind of gets after it. He's going to have that look in his eyes. He's going to want to have a big game. I like Caruso here at 4.1K. I think he's one of the really good values on this slate. And I think he'd be even more popular if we didn't have like the Obi Toppin values. I still think he's a good value, but I think he'd be the most popular one if we didn't have this next one. So like him a lot there. Really like Vucevic on DK and FanDuel. FanDuel, he's 6.9K, 7.7 on DK. Feels a little pricier, but if you look around like the industry and all these optimals, he's getting pushed in some of them, but he's not getting pushed in all of them. And it's a lot of these like really cheap, terrible centers where like I think Vucevic is a really strong play today at the center position. Like if it's between him and DeMar DeRozan, give me Vucevic right now, even if Levine is in. And if Levine's out, that's going to be obviously great for these guys. And also, I think this Bucks team is one that I think they're not like really playing much defense at this time. I think they are capable of playing really good defense, but they're kind of just sleepwalking right now. And the Bulls are a team that they're not going to sleepwalk. They are going to try in this game. And I think they're going to be able to keep this thing close enough where you are going to get that full run from those Bucks. So I noticed in optimals, like I'm seeing like 3 to like 4 Bucks and Bulls all together, mainly 3. I like the idea of going 4 or 5 and then mixing in those like really good value plays with it. So that's something I'm definitely thinking about on this slate. And then I think the Bucks side, I just want to talk about, it's like I said, Giannis, Drew, both really good plays, but who's going to be the other guys to get in there and like get the opportunity? Like, do you see Pat Connaughton for sure closing this game? could it be a Javon Carter at 4K? That would not surprise me if he snuck into the lineup at some time. I think a Grayson Allen is someone that's going to be a really interesting play at 4.3 that could get hot from the 3-point line. And then Bobby Portis at 6'6". I think a lot of people might say, hey, playing Bobby Portis and Giannis together is not the most comfortable thing because they think they eat from each other, but it's a 4-game slate. I think you can play both of them together and still have a really successful night. So I think that's one way that you can kind of be contrarian with your Bucks lineups that other people might not do on this slate.
Yeah, definitely a very good breakdown. I think you can play Bobby and Giannis together on a 4-game slate, like you said. I mean, and they don't necessarily, I mean, you can get assists into a dunk and get your 2 points. The correlation to eating into each other doesn't necessarily, like, I don't think it's the most negative EV situation with those two. Two of them are going to, one of them is going to grab the rebound more times than not. Obviously, Brook being back hurts a little bit, but Brook's not getting the minutes yet. And someone just on Q said Lopez still on a minutes limit. Yeah, what has he played recently? He's definitely still on a minutes limit.
He played 20, He played 20 the last game. He played 15 and 14. So it technically got ramped up. And the center position is not great. So I could see like taking the shot on it. Like Giannis doesn't have that center eligibility. Another guy on a minutes limit, which I'm very curious about, that like I could see him getting ruled out randomly late, is like Pat Williams, because this is the second night of a back-to-back. His minutes limit was 25 minutes, but like they definitely have bigger plans with him. So like he's a guy that if he got held back a bit, like one of those guys that you can mix in with the stack that I wouldn't hate is like a Javonte Green. I really think Javonte Green at 3.5 is just such a cheap salary that you could really mix him in there and he could help like make a lot of things work for your lineup. So that's something else to think about as well. Like these fringe guys on the Bucks and Bulls, I think they are going to get the opportunity to get there. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I don't hate mixing them in throughout your like MME if you're playing like 150 lineups.
Yeah, most definitely for sure. Yeah, you're going to need some bucks, or you don't need some bucks, but I think having some bucks is a very smart thing. I think having some Bulls is too. And the Zach LaVine news is big on this slate. If he's ruled out, guys like Javonte Green get a bump that people aren't really going to play right now. And if he's in, I really do think Zach LaVine is interesting in this spot, since people are going to see the Q tag. They're not going to jam him in, and the price tag's good, and we know he has a ceiling. So I definitely do think it's interesting, and this is not a game you can ignore for sure. Someone in chat asked about Brook Lopez. I wouldn't play Brook Lopez. Someone even said he's supposed to start tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he did start, but still, I'm not confident with the minutes yet, especially on a slate like this. We have good Knicks value and stuff like that. Personally, I would take a wait and see approach a little bit for Lopez's minutes until it gets to where you're comfortable at, and then you can play him. But hey, it's a 4-game slate. He's a good point per minute producer. He can get there in 20 minutes, but personally, it's not going to be a play for me. I'd rather even go Bobby and pay more, but Giannis and Drew are the main ones. Let's see what the likes. We got 353 watching, 142 likes. What you thinking, Hoop? I was thinking like 180, 185. Being a little nice to people on the way back, or are you just gonna hit them with the 200?
I was gonna say 2 bills, but I mean you're a nicer guy than I am, so I mean it's your ship. If you want 180. I mean it's a, you know people are moving a little bit slower nowadays. A 4-game NBA slate, we can do 180 and make sure that people get the plays.
Yeah, I was thinking 180 likes for the people. Yeah, you guys definitely have to get it done after that. 2 bills. Being a little nice on the first day back. But hit that like button, 180 likes for the plays of the day. We have 1 game left, but we already talked about the 2 games that are the most intriguing on this slate. So don't waste too much time. Do not test title today. 180 likes. I definitely got to pull it if we don't get there. But hit the like button.
The MMA confidence flowing. He's ready to pull the plug at any time. Watch out.
Hey, I pulled the plug last week once or twice, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I pulled the plug now. You guys can't say anymore. Titles never pulled it. I did my share that one day, and Mangone's done it. Hoop's done it. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We got Drew Carpenter in chat. What's going on? People talking about Grayson Allen. Ryan McGee in chat, another one that shipped NBA. He cashed 148 out of his 150 lineups. So congrats to you, Ryan. We got I missed the name, but someone's going down. Oh, Michael Tyler. He's going down to Pfizer today to watch the game. So have some fun, and definitely am jealous there. Should be a good game. Should have some playoff atmosphere a little bit. Nwora is in play, Jordan said. What are your thoughts on that before you get the next game? Personally, it's a no for me on Nwora, but he's someone that can get hot from 3. Any of you two?
I mean, I think you more want him when like Giannis is out. I mean, with Middleton out, I don't know. I mean, unless they announced that he starts and you're looking at 28 minutes or so, yeah, sure. But I typically only play him when Giannis is ruled out, not like Middleton or Drew.
Yeah, and especially because we have like that Knicks value. If we didn't have any of the Knicks value or stuff like that, I think it'd be more in play. But with that, I don't think you need to get to war today personally. Drew, Giannis, Bobby, they're going to do more of the heavy lifting. Look at that. Before we even get to the next game, they already got up to 191 likes for us. The people instantly responded. We absolutely appreciate that. The plays of the day will be on the way. Hit that big red subscribe button while you're at it as well. And then Run Pure Sports, head over, all sports, one price, golf locks early or locks tomorrow morning instead of Thursday. Do not forget your lineups when you reserve them. Tomorrow morning, golf locks, BigT, Hoop, Tambo did a show right before this. Was that on YouTube or was that on Premium Hoop?
It's a premium show, so you got to sign up and become a member. And AP was on there, and K Falix. It was a 5-man booth. That's why we kind of ran over and started the NBA show late. But a lot of good strategy talk. I mean, this event this week, more strategy than a typical PGA event. The way you build your teams, very important, and broke it all down on the show. So that's part of the premium product over at Rumpier.
I didn't even know that because I got to get doing my golf lineups tonight and got to watch it. So head over to Rumpier. Should be a premium show. There's a lot of strategy. You can't just pick 6 random golfers this week and expect to ship. We broke it all down in chat. John Galt did a great job in Discord too with certain things he did. So
that was very helpful. Yeah, that was very helpful what he did.
Yeah, I pinned his spreadsheet in Discord too. Check that out. So all the goods at Run Pure Sports in the Discord on the site. Make sure you check it out. Then hit that big red subscribe button after you hit that like button for us. But last game on the slate, this game locks 2 hours after the Bucks at 10 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Clippers, Denver Nuggets, 222.5 total. Denver is favored by 6.5. On the Clippers side, Norman Powell, Paul George, the same stuff for them, both out. On the Denver side, Zeke Naji is out. Can always play Jokic, as we always talk about. Giannis against Jokic. I personally lean Giannis slightly, but man, I mean, I'll never say easily Giannis over Jokic or vice versa. You can always play either of them. Outside of that, I don't know, like a Will Barton, Marcus Morris Sr., Reggie Jackson. Man, I'll go to you. Nothing standing out. I don't mind one-offing a play or two, but nothing just staring me in the face. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think this is really easy to break this one down. So like between the Nuggets and Clippers game and like the Warriors Magic, if I had to pick one game to like stack or like do like 2 guys from as like a mini stack, this would be the game. It wouldn't be the Warriors Magic for me. If you want to go that game, that's perfectly fine. But for me, it's this one. And the way I would do it, it's like, man, like Mike Malone is willing to pull the plug early, and so is Ty Lue. So if you are going to be different up top, Jokic is a great way to do it at 12.4K. And then run it back with like a Marcus Morris, because like more than likely, if this game happens to be close, then both those guys get that run and they have a good game. Now, if it blows out, could Jokic get there and like then those Clippers really get in trouble? Yes, that could be a route that happens. But I do think a really smart way to approach this one is to like stack this game up a bit if you do get exposure to it. I don't think it's like one, just take a random one-off here or there. If you were to take a one-off though, the guys to do it with are probably like Monte Morris at 4.6 or maybe like a Jeff Green at 3.5. One of those cheaper options. That's kind of the way that I would approach it. Maybe it's a Bones Highland where like you get that blowout run and he's just in there absolutely crushing. Maybe it's through DeMarcus Cousins. Like let's say you don't play a Jokic and you need a cheap option and center's gross. Well, Cousins kind of can leverage Jokic and they can play together because they have played a lot more together recently. So that's something that's worth mentioning. The Clippers side though, it is really hard. It's tough because I had a great team when I was at Big T's house, and Marcus Morris just buried my lineup because he didn't play the second half. And I'm definitely a little more cautious to play him, even though the price is 5.6 because of it. And even Big T said to me, he's like, I just never play those guys. And I was like, I don't really play him too much either. Morris has been good to me, but man, like it can be painful run out because they can easily give other guys run, even if they're competitive in the game. Like Marcus Morris could sit a little longer for like a Robert Covington. There's just so many ways that it can be quite frustrating where don't force in Clippers. I think that's not a bad way to go about it. I think at times, like, there are teams that you can fade on slates and like ownership is just going to condense on it. Like for instance, that Warriors Magic game for me, I'm not really trying to get too much exposure to that game. And instead of being like, hey, I'm going to fade like a really great 70% guy, I'm just going to say like, hey, like 25 or 30% of the field, whatever percent rosters guys from that game, they're just going to be in trouble because they got exposure to it. Like look from the start as that game starts to go, maybe like you're 20 minutes in, look, see how many teams just haven't even played anyone from that game. And maybe that'll help you make decisions on playing just like guys that are already, good plays and not getting too crazy with your last guy in. Like last night for me, Chris Boucher was like the difference maker. I had all 20% guys, and yes, it was a bit of a bigger slate, but I had all these 20% guys, and I had Chris Boucher at 5%, kind of just climbed me to the top. So maybe just look for that one guy that's a little bit lower owned that can get you to the top, and then eat some really good plays around it. That's kind of the approach I'm looking to take on this slate, because I just don't see a lot of guys in that Magic Warriors game getting me excited. And same with this Nuggets and Clippers game. I just don't see too many guys getting me excited. I think Jokic as a top spend is interesting. I think Monte Morris is not a bad lower guy, like I said, and maybe a Marcus Morris, but man, I'm really not excited to play Clippers tonight.
I'm going to go back to Mango because people are bringing up in chat the Jokic, Markieff Morris situation. Now it's Marcus Morris. I know this is the second game that they played since the incident, but the Marcus Morris revenge for his brother, the Jokic possible ejection people are talking about in chat. I can never guess on the ejection and all that stuff. It wouldn't go into my thought process, but obviously this, we know what Jokic did to Markieff, and man, I don't think he's came back since. So what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I mean, so Marcus and Markieff, they're not just brothers. They're twins. They used to share, I don't know if they still do, but they shared a bank account. They have the same exact tattoos. They went to the
They shared a bank account? I never knew that.
To start. I don't know if they still do, but like early on, like 2-3 years in, they had the same exact bank account.
Wow.
Money in together. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So these guys are tight. So obviously I think I expect him to kind of, defend his brother. One idea I've thought of is like, maybe I just like go into like SaberSim and I lock Morris and Jokic and I just cancel out that Warriors Magic game. And then from there, I feel like I've already like taken two of the best plays from each side. If this game happens to be close, I'm likely not getting Giannis on my teams because I have a spend up and I have a forward. So it's going to make it really difficult to get Giannis. So now I'm probably fading Giannis, not saying I want to fade Giannis, but he's a really good play. And he's a high owned play. And that's already going to give me a really unique build that condenses on two of the best games. So it's definitely an approach you can take. I assume you then want to get Drew Holiday in there because Drew would leverage on top of Giannis and maybe even a Bobby Portis as well. But those are some really smart ways, I think, to make some really good constructed lineups without just doing stupid things. So like I said, I'm playing two lineups today, and I currently have Giannis on both, but I am going to look at that approach. I am going to go into Saber and lock both those guys and see what happens and see if I like it, see what the drop off is projection wise, and go from there. That's kind of my approach. Marcus Morris is definitely in play for me though today.
Yeah, I love how you talk, like you just go into SaberSim. You can mess with a lot of different stuff, blocking certain people, exiting out or excluding certain games, stuff like that, and just see what you like with the optimizer and all that. That's the partnership we over here have over here at Run Pure Sports. Very sharp over there, man. Going, and congrats on you on that nice night yesterday. You had some good teams up there for sure. Hoop, I'll throw it over to you. Not the best game, obviously. The first and the last game aren't the most intriguing. We like the middle two ones better, but can you pick off any one-offs in this game?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm not trying to get cute with the Clippers. I mean, there's just a lot of inconsistency in terms of production, the rotations. There's not a lot of stability there. Marcus Morris at 5'6". I mean, he's hit 40 fantasy points in 3 out of his last 5 games. And then the other 2, or it was a 20 fantasy point game and an 8 fantasy point game. So some peaks and valleys, obviously, in the production, but 5.6K has shown 40 fantasy point upside in 60% of his last 5 games. So some interest there, last guy in type play. Reggie Jackson, don't really play a lot of Reggie Jackson, but he's been a lot better this second half of the season. 7.2K though, like I don't think I want to play Reggie Jackson 7.2K. So for me, the only 2 guys I would consider would be Jackson and Morris. More interest obviously in Morris at 5.6K price tag on DraftKings. And then Denver, I mean, the only guy in Denver that I typically play is Jokic, and I prefer Giannis tonight by a pretty wide margin. So I don't think I'll be playing much Jokic. Now, if you're doing 150 teams, I'm not doing 150 tonight, but if you are, It's easier to get exposure to Jokic and Giannis. But if you're playing limited lineups like I am tonight, I'm just going with Giannis, and I think it's a better spot, better game. I know I'm going to have a lot of Bulls guys. That leads me down the Giannis route. So, for me, the slate's really consolidated to those two middle games. It's going to be the highest owned, but I feel good about it.
Yep, I agree. A couple more things on this game from people in chat. We the people brought up Monte Morris, and I actually was going to talk about Monte Morris. Tune into the Up to Lock show because Big T is the Monte Morris whisperer. He's probably playing Monte Morris more than anybody in the whole industry. And I think it is interesting. I mean, 4-6 on DK. He's going to be low owned, facilitates the offense. I think that is an okay play and as viable as the last piece. So I agree with that. Then people keep talking about Boogie. Big boy DeMarcus Cousins, 4.1K. We know he can get it done in limited minutes. Any interest for either of you two in tournaments?
On this slate, I don't see it. You're looking at he's played over 20 minutes, like one time in the last 10 games. Yes, he can get it done in limited time, but we already have like value on the slate, and we could potentially get more. So as a deep tournament flyer, like sure, if you're doing, he's like a 150 play. If you're doing 150, he should be like super low owned. Toss him in there and get some exposure if you like him, but not like a primary play for me on the slate.
The way I like to use Cousins today is like if you're not if you're not playing Jokic, but let's say like you build out your team and like center is just not the greatest today. It is kind of rough where I think you can get away with like one of those centers that goes for 18 minutes and has like a really productive game. Like I think I wouldn't put Cousins and Jokic together, but if you build out your team and like you have no exposure to that Nuggets game, I like doing it through Cousins as like the one-off. If you fall there, last guy in MME. And the reason why is like, well, you don't have Jokic. So like if Cousins is in there, he's going to take a lot fantasy point per minute from Jokic where you're leveraging him there. And if the game blows out either way, which it certainly can, we've seen Mike Malone pull his guys. We've seen Ty Lue. Well, who has a massive game? Probably DeMarcus Cousins. And more than likely, you probably won't lose to some team that has like 3 Nuggets that are like bench guys or 3 Clippers bench guys because no one's really going to be doing that on this slate. So it's a small way to be different at a position that I don't love today. It's just not like my favorite one. I see a lot of ownership going to like guys at the power forward spot, like I talked about. And then I see a lot of guard ownership going to some of those other guys in the games where center just feels like it's getting more lost in the shuffle and is a really good spot to maybe make a differentiation play. Again, it can blow up in your face, but he is only 4.1K, which is the good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would not play Jokic and Boogie together. That is for sure, because you are hoping for a blowout. He gets extended run. And we've even seen Boogie play so well into the fourth quarter where Jokic doesn't come back as early as he usually does at times. And Malone's fine just rolling out Boogie. I mean, Drew, our boy Drew in chat, he said Boogie has a 31.6% usage rate and is averaging 1.24 fantasy points per minute over the last 2 weeks. We know Boogie, when he gets the minutes, the fantasy points are there for sure. The minutes are a little concerned, but this isn't the best center slate. There is Jokic on it. That's why I mentioned JSURab. If you want to take a shot on Boogie, I don't think it's the worst thing. You will not see him in my one lineup. I do think it is more of a 20, a 150, but it's a 4-game slate.
Title, one more thing I don't mind about it is like, we've seen the Clippers play bigger. They've done Zubac and Hartenstein together at times, not often, but you could see both sides like be okay with it here, especially with like a Nuggets team where like, I don't know if they're like thinking Boogie might have to be part of like maybe the playoff future for a little bit, just because like Jamal Murray might not be coming back, where they might need like a usage guy off the bench to help them out, even though he's terrible on defense. Not sure what Mike Malone is really going to do, but maybe it's something they just try to experiment with. We did see a double big man lineup happen recently with Jokic and Cousins. So maybe it's something they just try and see. Maybe it can work out. Maybe it can't, but they got to figure something out with Jamal Murray, likely not going to be able to be back in time.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm alone, I'm definitely trying to get Boogie on the court more, and you can't kick Jokic off the court. So they're very interesting. That's, man, the Milwaukee Bucks. What are the Bucks doing getting rid of Boogie? That was definitely hurtful because he's balling this year. That's for sure. And then the one last thing I wanted to add about the Clippers situation is because they have nothing to play for, the minutes, like Hoop said, Marcus Morris, 3 out of the last 5, he had 40 plus, and then his other games were duds. The minutes are a little concerned. I mean, they can easily get pulled and not get run out there. They have nothing to play for. And then as the NBA season is winding down like it is, some of these teams that have nothing to play for. Some of these older guys have been in the league for a while. The minutes are a little more uncertain. So just something to think of as we are winding down the season. But that was all 4 games. First game, not as much interest. The middle 2 games are the best on the slate. Waiting for Bogdanovich news, waiting for Zach LaVine news. Then the last game on the slate, it's always Jokic. You can one off a couple pieces. But that was all 4 games. You guys absolutely smashed the like button for us. 225 likes. We appreciate it. If you haven't hit it yet, we appreciate it if you do. We appreciate if you hit that big red subscribe button. And then, yeah, time for the plays of the day. I'm going to go to myself first because I know who I'm taking. I didn't hype him up too much in the beginning. It's in that first game, which is going to be a little more contrarian. I don't want to go overboard on it, but Jordan Poole is the SO play of the day at 7.4K. He just gets a massive usage bump without Steph. He's playing big minutes. He has the ball in his hand a ton. So Warriors team plays very good team basketball. I think Jordan Poole has big upside, 50 plus upside, can even hit a 60 burger in this role at 7.4K. It looks like the ownership's going to be down. People are going to avoid the first game mainly. Jordan Poole can get hot and really break a slate at 7.4K. So he is the SO play of the day. Mangone, I'll head over to you, the sweet Travis play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bobby Portis. I don't think the ownership is going to be too high on him. And like, you can play him with Giannis. I think that's perfectly fine. So it's a little revenge game too. Who doesn't love the Bobby Portis revenge game where fists used to be thrown in Chicago? So I'm in on Bobby. I mean, he's definitely set up for a really good game. And I think this Bucks team, I think they kind of are sleepwalking right now defensively, where you're going to see a lot of points be scored. And one guy that definitely doesn't sleepwalk and has a motor is Bobby Portis. So I think he has a pretty good game. Give me him on FanDuel and DraftKings. I'm taking Bobby Portis as my play of the day.
I like it. Hoop, head over to you to cap it up for us, the rich parents play of the day.
Yeah, we go to the Knicks. I know a lot of the guys are obviously going to be popular tonight, but like we talked about it during this game, Evan Fournier, I think, is a guy that comes in like low owned, obviously gets the same boost these other guys get with Julius Randle out. Shot the ball 13 times in 3 out of his last 4 games, 30 fantasy points in 3 out of his last 4 games. And he's the one guy that's really not popping on projections or being talked about at all. So can kind of get different loading up on the Knicks, I think, with Evan Fournier. So he'll be the rich parents play of the day.
Evan Fournier, Bobby Portis, Jordan Poole, the 3 plays of the day. Nice little 4-game slate. Had some fun on the show as always. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us in chat. Makes the show very fun. Check out that golf show, the premium content. You do not want to make your golf lineups without watching that show, without reading the playbook, looking at the cash chart, all this stuff as usual. Hit that big like button, hit that big red subscribe button. Up to lock, we got JSU, BigT, Glock. Gonna break it all down. Maybe the LaVine news hits, maybe the Bogdanovich news hits. See who they're on, how they're gonna get different, and all that. So head over to Run Pure Sports, check it out. One price, all the sports. That big red like button, big red subscribe button. Hit that for us, please. That's gonna do it for us, though. We'll be back tomorrow as always. For Hoop, Mangone, Simon Behind the Sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.